some official theories, Joe.
Yeah, go to the official theories, and then I want to hear what the official ones are, and then I'll kind of talk about what I think.
Yeah, so some of the official theories, the main one that everyone kind of came back to was she died due to lack of experience and gear to hike in those conditions, which I think is a strong possibility. They mentioned that all of the following could have been possible: hypothermia, disorientation, running out of food, accident, seizure caused by epilepsy, and potentially foul play. Sewell, the retired sergeant, believes Hoover succumbed to the elements. He goes on to say hypothermia is a significant hazard to hikers that can strike even in the summer. New England in spring, which is when Hoover started her hike, can get chilly. Hoover is wearing jeans, a shirt, and a windbreaker at the time. And the report actually had some National Weather Service data from that time. It said, according to the National Weather Service, between May 16th and May 21st, 1983, temperatures in the area routinely dipped down into the 30s. When Hoover started her hike on the morning of May 20th, it reached a high of 72 degrees. So, warm enough, they say, for an unseasoned hiker to break a sweat. The Weather Service report also goes on to say that a light rain had set in midday, and by nightfall, temperatures had descended nearly 30 degrees. And the rain continued into the next day, and the temperatures on May 21st peaked at 59 degrees. But so while Sewell said he thinks it's likely Hoover died in those remote woods, he still has no idea where. He said he believes that had there been any trace of her to be found, it would have been uncovered when the wardens conducted the other search. So, they're going for the low-hanging fruit on this one of, lack of preparedness and
sure
inexperience, which
the odds are with them in that assessment.
Yeah, I think that's a high likelihood, especially with those weather conditions. The fact that it was, got down into the 30s and it was, raining, and the kind of clothing she was wearing, because there's not a lot of, I think there's black bears there, but, it's not like hiking out west where you'd have to contend with grizzlies or something.
Yeah.
Mountain lions or things like that. Potentially could be foul play. The only thing that the thing that gives me pause is, okay, say she succumbed to the elements. I would think that, she would stay near the trail and she would just have hypothermia or, something happened and she, passed away near the trail. Why hasn't anyone found her for over 30 years? Why didn't the wardens find her when they were searching? Like Sewell said, if there had been any trace of her, they would have found her. And
yeah, assuming she's on the trail. I think that's the big kicker is we have to almost assume she wasn't on the trail for whatever reason.
Her lack of experience, she may have thought she could just, hook.
There's a lot of factors though. So like with all of her personal, like the reason she went to go out there is because she had a lot of, trial and tribulation at home in Texas, and she was looking for some type of change. And she made a rapid change. This reminds me a lot about that recent one of that young woman out of California.
Oh yeah,
that went on the COVID trip. Like just kind of, the stress of life got to her, and she wanted to go on a trip. Like this almost feels a lot like that with her husband, with her stuff. Now throw in that she's not prepared. She doesn't have the right stuff. She has a medical condition that would render her completely useless if triggered. And I was just on epilepsy.com looking up commonly reported triggers.
Yeah.
You have sleep deprivation, overtiredness, obviously bright lights and flashing, stress, not eating well, low blood sugar, specific foods, excessive caffeine. So she was doing a lot of stuff that she wasn't physically prepared for.
Yep.
So she wasn't physically prepared, mentally prepared, or prepared with supplies.
Yeah.
She had a ton of stress. That's the reason she was going to do this. And now you throw in this medical condition where quite literally all of those factors could trigger an epileptic episode, which if she's lost and gets even more stressed out, And this is like the perfect storm, but like imagine she gets lost, not on the trail, no food, terrible weather, goes into an epileptic seizure. Like that's it. Like you're done. Like when you go into a seizure, it's like running a marathon.
Yeah.
And you need to replenish those nutrients and have someone there to help you. So my whole thing was going towards initially maybe she wanted to disappear. I wouldn't think it was like a suicide trip.
Yeah.
But more like a disregard for the risk
Mm-hmm.
type of thing. Like she didn't go out there to die, but like screw it, I'm just going to do this thing and see what happens.
Yeah.
To take a risk, and just ended up being in the worst possible case possible because she didn't do her research. She didn't know what she was doing. She had a medical condition. That's kind of my vote. I think it's like the perfect storm of things that could have gone wrong.
Yeah.
That's where my gut's telling me.
Yeah. I think obviously, unlike a lot of the cases we cover, I think this one clearly the facts point towards, that. I will say, after doing our previous episode about the psychopath that was, murdering people outdoors, and the fact that we did do episode 16 on the murder of Hood and LaRue that happened on the AT in 1990, it is not outside the realm of possibility for murder to happen on the Appalachian Trail. Very rare. We're not saying it's...
Just so you think like the possibility of foul plays. I would agree with you. And I think based off of that last episode, and I think we've been discounting how credible that could be, I think.
Yeah, I only say that because no trace of her was ever found, which, playing devil's advocate against my own theory, doesn't mean anything because it's so vast out there, and this is a pretty wild section of the AT. I think it's entirely possible that, if there's thick brush and stuff, that she could have, passed away and not been found yet.
Sure.
It just, I don't know, just kind of bugs me. This isn't like somewhere out west where it's mountainous and there's a lot of crevasses and places where a body could fall. It's, it's Maine. I mean, it's thick brush, but it's like the forests in northern Wisconsin almost,
Yeah.
I don't know. That's the only thing. I mean, obviously she was unprepared, not conditioned, all that stuff, which huge factor, but I don't know. Something just, maybe there was foul play. She was hiking by herself. She's a woman, hiking the AT. Who knows? But